It is a dire situation for many in the country now, isn't it?
It is really a dire situation. It's a very bleak day. It was a very bleak day. And of course, disaster after disaster, that's kind of unbearable for the Afghan people. So that is a very dire, very sad day.
Now, what is the general feeling of just Afghans on the street?
Well, they are frustrated, very frustrated by the international community, especially by the Western world, and specifically by the United States, who left Afghanistan very irresponsibly to the mercy of the terrorists. So first the Taliban came, afterward another brand of the terrorists, ISIS-K. ISIS-K is not a reality in Afghanistan. That's a made-up kind of name there. I don't know which branch of terrorists they have called ISIS-K. It's quite new. It's not familiar. It's not like a homegrown terrorist group like what was in Iraq and Syria. In Afghanistan, never ISIS-K never existed before. Just out of a sudden, it appears to be, doing the whole thing like that. I think we are the victim of different countries' interests in Afghanistan. We are the victim. And Afghanistan is becoming the ground for rivalry for different interests. And they're using the tool of terrorists there. ISIS-K, Taliban, this group, that group, but they're all kind of in the hand of different powers.
And the thing is, how do you differentiate between if somebody came to your house and said they're ISIS-K, or they could say they're Taliban, or... I mean, this is a very difficult situation for the people of Afghanistan. And then you've got the Afghan army, which sort of disseminated immediately, and your president deserting. What's next in terms of the organisation of the country?
You cannot make a difference. Let's say that when the Taliban came, so many other terrorist groups came with the Taliban. So therefore, whatever is happening there is under jurisdiction of Taliban, not something from outside. It's not something that somebody else, a terrorist group, came from outside Afghanistan in the name of ISIS-K, and they are confronting the Taliban. They are just made up a story in Afghanistan. That's not the case. That's not reality. So whatever is happening is under jurisdiction of the Taliban, whatever is happening. And then, of course, the Taliban, who have got some sort of connection with some different powers. That's all the games as such. It's not like that this is this group, this is another group. They're opposing each other. One is moderate, one is extreme. That's not the case.
Ahmed, from what we've heard, the attack focused on US personnel and people that were standing in a sewage canal at the time, holding papers in their hands, trying to get the attention of the guards, trying to get into the airport. Do you think that we will see more people going to the airport now to try and get in that way? Or will we see more people flee to the borders, perhaps with Pakistan? How do you think people are going to react?
Well, people have already reached safely to the border. For example, one of the border points is Chaman, close to Pakistan, border in Pakistan. Now, a few days ago, it was a few thousand, or maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people were massing there. But today, it's about 10,000, maybe 20,000, it will grow. So, in every kind of passage that they can find, they want to flee the Taliban, they want to flee the war and fighting. Everywhere is possible. But as far as the airport is concerned, probably they may not turn, but they may go to another airport, maybe to background, to somewhere else. But people are really they're running for their lives because of the Taliban coming there. So everybody is going. Once they see the Taliban everywhere in the country, they think that the Taliban are carrying a coffin, and everything that they will be put in that coffin. That's why they fear so much, and they're frightened.
Ahmed, what do you think Afghanistan and the Afghans would like from the countries that surround them and the West to do to help them?
Well, I mean, they have been there for the past 20 years. We really thought, the Afghan people thought that now the least the West can do is that to kind of protect them in a very kind of essential way. They did not expect much. They thought that, well, they will protect them from terrorism because 20 years ago they came to fight terrorism, to root out terrorism. But after 20 years, they gave the Taliban again to the Taliban. So 20 years kind of wasted in the eyes of the Afghans. So unfortunately, this is a very kind of dismissed situation. Now what they can do, they really have to be careful what to recognize in Afghanistan, not to give legitimacy to any terrorist group. They really have to verify who is who in Afghanistan, not to make everything, mixed and then say, well, this is the government of Afghanistan, that's moderate, that's extreme. That's not the case. We hope that the Western world, the international community, will take care of Afghanistan because what happens in Afghanistan then it will affect everybody. Maybe today many groups in Afghanistan, they would not say much that they are terrorists. But tomorrow they will. They will come up and they will inflict their harm everywhere in the region and extra-region. So therefore, they have to take care of the country. First of all, they really have to pressurize the Taliban to curb the violence, not to search people, not to do selective killing of the people, of the politicians. This is the first thing they have to do. The second they have to do is just to see whether they can be able to have a sort of provisional government which really represent all ethnicities in Afghanistan, because Taliban is one ethnicity, is Pashtun, but the rest of the ethnicity are kind of deprived from the other side. So they have to make sure there is a kind of inclusive government in Afghanistan which represents the spirit of the Afghan people. That's the second. The third, what they can do to take care of terrorists in a way that really kind of help the Afghan to fight terrorism. And they have to identify who is who in Afghanistan, not to really brand one moderate, one extreme. Terrorist is terrorist, doesn't have moderate or extreme. If you kill people, if you terror people, you're a terrorist. So therefore, they should not really kind of, this is my favorite terrorist, that's my enemy terrorist.
Ahmed, what would you say to people who, listening to you, would say, well, they've occupied Afghanistan for 20 years. Surely the people of Afghanistan can now take the reins and sort of set up their own society and without all these outside influences?
Well, I hope that that would have happened for the past 20 years. We know that the West has invested a lot in Afghanistan, billions of dollars, especially the United States invested billions of dollars. But the problem was that since they brought their own men to impose on Afghanistan, from the beginning, let's say 2001 until now, for 20 years, they brought their own men from America. It was Afghan American who was imposed on the Afghan people as the president of Afghanistan through presidential election. That was the mistake, because they did not let the Afghans to decide their own destiny themselves. They imposed somebody as an Afghan American who were never lived in Afghanistan, who were brought from the United States, imposed there, and they could not take care of the country. That's why you can see the whole thing kind of fall apart. We hope that when they do help Afghanistan, they should kind of leave the Afghans to determine their own future as well, not to bring somebody, not to impose something. That's what we really expect.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.